Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Pen Pals podcast. This week's episode is super awesome because we have an amazing guest here today. By the way, my name is Zach Schertz. I am an artist and also a content creator here on YouTube. And we also kind of got someone who's pretty similar to me actually in like doing content creation as well. Would you like to introduce yourself?
What's going on, everybody? This is Marazki. I am also artist and content creator, mostly on TikTok, a little bit of YouTube, a little bit of Instagram. So happy to be here.
That's awesome. I'm great to have you here. I'm really excited. And as far as you, what kind of art do you do?
Yeah, so I have been putting out videos for about a year or so on TikTok mostly, but also doing some other drawings on Instagram. It's just traditional art. I like to have something physical when I'm done. A little dabble. I know you're into, using Procreate and whatnot. A little
Hmm.
dabble with that for me, but for the most part, something traditional. Like to have it physical. Like to maybe give it to somebody. Like to maybe just post it on Etsy shop or something. So that's what I'm into.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you primarily use these bad boys, huh? The Posca pens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Those are my go-to right now.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
something
I love
I've.
the Posca pens, and I love the. I also am a sucker for Copic markers. I
Oh
started with
yeah,
those a while back, so it's like any the high end like pricey markers. Like I'm like, oh, I want those. I want
right.
those.
It's always the
Gotta
most
try them
expensive
out.
ones.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
man. Yeah,
Yeah,
we got to talk about markers a little bit later.
yeah,
I saw that you
yeah.
just
I
got
I
those.
just recently kind of I've had the markers for quite some time. Like since like maybe early maybe early like 2019 or so, I think maybe. But yeah, because I was doing some like shrink ink plastic stuff, just like fun. But yeah, I've been recently getting back into it, especially because I think that's how I originally like kind of like recognized your stuff on TikTok was because
Oh,
I was
cool.
like, or I guess like my attention was grabbed because I was like, oh, Posca pens, I just learned about those. That's awesome. And so when I first met you, I think I checked my DMs and it was like October or so of like last year, I think, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah, it
was a
was a while
while
back.
ago, and so had like a little conversation with you about like TikTok and things because I was just kind of starting to try to figure things out, and yeah, I got some help and some perspective from you, and that's kind of how we met was through the Posca pens, so that was cool.
That's right. That is cool. Man, I was similar with the Posca pens. I bought them and I didn't start using them like till months later.
Yeah,
Just somehow that's how it was. And then once I started using them, I figured out like, oh, okay, this is a way to create with them. So that was really fun.
yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
then you also have your YouTube channel, and what do you do on
Mhm.
your YouTube channel? Although I
Yeah,
kind of
on
know,
you
but
sure, yeah, on
for the
YouTube,
audience.
for the most part, I am experimenting with like longer form content because on TikTok you can create so quickly and send it up and get feedback so quickly, which is really good and useful
Yeah.
for creative process iterating. But then on YouTube, I'm like, hey, what if I want to talk for 10 minutes? And so that's when I put that kind of stuff. And I think also, ideally, that's sort of like the golden pedestal of platforms. That's like if you could have 10,000 followers somewhere, you'd sure want them on YouTube. That's kind of the
Yeah.
best spot. So just trying to kind of, make my way that way as well, climbing that little
Hmm.
hill. Still very new as far as like how many videos I put out, how many followers I have and all that. But also just like love YouTube. YouTube is good. So many awesome people on there and just learning, finding new people that way, super experienced people. So it's a little bit of everything. But for now, it's a lot more talking, and it's more like this, which is what I like to do on YouTube. It's what I like to do in general. I think a lot about art, put up little videos. Sometimes they're super simple. Sometimes they're just little cartoons, but I give a lot of thought into them. So
Hmm.
YouTube's been fun for exploring more about why I'm doing stuff.
Yeah. I've loved because like I started first on YouTube. Like I had like an old YouTube channel that I would just make. I basically like coined like I don't know if you remember Fred from the OG YouTube days.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
do.
So
Yeah.
like yeah, like I had like I aspired to it because I used to watch like music video stuff because I was fascinated by like I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like there was like not even a career for it. It was just like people would use it like kind of to market what they do on the side. So YouTube itself wasn't much of a career, but like what they did like amazed me. I was like, oh, dude, they produced all of this themselves. They did the music video for their music or whatever, and then I was also on like skit comedy stuff. I love that. And
Yeah.
so like I had like this whole like basically copycat character of Fred that I was doing like like ninth grade or something. It was like horrible stuff. But it was like a fun little experience to like try to like make something like kind of bigger than just like, you know, maybe like a simple phone video or something, which we didn't really have that option. We had like, you know, maybe like 2 megapixel at most. The height of like high school, there was like 2 megapixel cameras or something like that. Or I
Yeah.
guess it was like maybe got to like 8 or 10 megapixels. But yeah, it just wasn't like nowadays like the camera quality is on phones are like incredible. But yeah,
Yeah.
so like I started there, and then yeah, kind of I did a few videos here and there, and then I took a long break for a few years, went to school and stuff, and then when in college I kind of realized I was like I still want to do YouTube. It's always been a dream of mine to just do that, especially now that it's a viable career option. I was watching much as like other YouTubers I aspire to, and I'm like, okay, like I want to make this happen. And so yeah, since college I was like, okay, well if I can start, why not start now? So that's like what I started doing is making videos and stuff like that, and trying to find like, okay, how do I not be, because like it was the first time being myself on camera and not like being I guess like a character that I had made up in high school. So I was like, okay, how do I not be awkward on camera, because it was so weird, so weird.
Yeah. 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 No, I understand that. I kind of backed into like the art or getting settled with art on online, but definitely with YouTube, like getting settled in with that. Being that initially, I've only been doing art drawing like seriously for like a couple years,
Mhm.
like since the previous from now, and I had like an interest in drawing when I was a little kid, but prior to that, like I would just put like I play guitar too, so I put
Oh sweet.
like authentic like guitar singing and stuff on YouTube, and like that felt like a performance. It felt like very sincere and genuine, like
Mhm.
whatever. None of it ever really took off, but then like backing into YouTube and all this art stuff, I'm like, wow, like there's people out there. This is all they do, and this is their
Right.
content creation, and it's amazing, and that's great. So kind of realizing that way that there's like a niche for it. But before, like felt like there's one way to do things, and maybe that was similar to you. Like you had your skits or something, and then you're like, wait, no, I can be authentic in this
Uh-huh.
way, that. So yeah, it's funny how you realize like how you can use these platforms,
Right. Yeah. And like yeah, TikTok's been like the perfect way of like short form content, like I don't know, it's helped me practice so much, cuz then when I go and film videos now, like I'm almost like not even thinking about it, cuz I'd have to try to get into mode where I'm like, okay, I'm filming myself, be chill, don't freak out, don't, cuz I would like trip on
Yeah.
my words all the time, but like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
now I can just turn on a camera and it's like so much easier just cuz of
Yeah.
TikTok. I would constant practice, and doing live streams too helps too. Of just like
Yeah.
sitting there with
No,
people and be
I
like,
know
all right, I'm used to this now.
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember like some of my first live streams on TikTok and being like nervous about it, and you're
Uh-huh.
like in a room with not even a room, but you're on a phone with like four or five other people, and they don't care. They're just like, oh hi, I'm like looking at you now, like talk. It's just like
Mhm.
this most simple things. You get nervous about that, or even like back when I like deciding to like, okay, I'm drawing, because like with art, like you're drawing, it's supposed to be very art for the most part, but then
Mhm.
sometimes you want to like film yourself, and then definitely had those experiences of being like, okay, gotta say this right. Okay, gotta say it right. Redo, redo, redo. And then now it's
Right.
like you just get so used to it. And the idea of like putting something out there and having it be seen by 100 people, maybe 100,000 people, like that's not so bothering anymore. It's pretty wild, but that's a good experience to get through. And it's super useful through TikTok to be able to figure that out.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. And you said that it hasn't been since like a couple years ago that you started like pursuing art
Yeah.
more. Like what
Yeah.
was
Let me
that
talk
like?
about
What's
that.
your art background on everything? Where
Sure.
did it
Yeah.
start?
So just as far as like full history background, definitely draw when I was a little kid, like everybody does. And, stuff like where your mom is like, oh my gosh, you're so good at drawing Ninja Turtles. That's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and that was great. And I was like, cool, whatever. All right. And then did some art in high school, like just like little like wacky stuff for like in art class, and which I
It's
thought
got
was
to be
fun. And
wacky. If it's not
it's got to
wacky,
be a
you're
little
not
bit
doing it
wacky.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember other people being amazing at art and drawing. I was like, wow, it's so cool. Yeah, from then on, just like just a an observer, somebody who likes looking at cool art and stuff. And I'm into video games, and I like to see like the cool aesthetics of video games, and
Mhm.
so that's always been something. But just on the sidelines, and then it came from me when I have 4 kids. So one of them was like screaming right now,
Good
but that's
timing.
okay.
It's perfect. I love
So
that.
for me, it came when it was like about a couple years back. Well, certainly just drawing. Like whenever my kids are like, "Draw me Sonic, draw me Mario, draw me this, draw me that," and you're like, "Sure, okay." So like that was like getting everything back, just pen and paper again. And what kind of was a weird turn in a way, or a more dramatic turn than it needs to be, was that my one of my sons, my second son, he was going to school and he was coming back with his lunches like half eaten. And like as a parent, you're like, oh no, like why is my kid not eating? And you get stressed out about that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And so we were like, me and my wife were like brainstorming about this. And I just on a whim just would decide one day, I'm like, what if I just like draw something and stick it in his little lunch box, and then maybe he'll be like excited about lunch. And then it's like, okay, sure. So like I just drew like something. It's so simple. Look, cartoon stuff. Like I actually have it on my Instagram, like way back at the end, which nobody would ever go to see. But and so that's how I started. I just started putting little drawings, little doodles, little cartoons of things that they like into their lunchbox, and it actually worked, which was crazy. I started doing it with Micah, my second son, and then my first son. I started doing it for him as well, just because I felt like he wouldn't want to be left out. And they like the lunches started coming back eaten, and I was like,
Wow.
that's insane that that would actually work. And I thought that was like a novel, crazy kind of event. And in the the time of the internet, I'm like, man, I could be like, people are gonna like love this. So I started an Instagram account, and like, here it comes, like, where are the followers?
Yeah.
And this is like 2 years ago, 2.5 years
Hmm.
ago. So nobody's like jumping at the bit for something like that anymore. Like that might make a news headline like 10, 20 years ago, but not
Right.
anymore. So that was like that was what started my art online, was thinking like, oh, surely people would be interested in this. That was a big jump for me, I felt like, because
Yeah.
it was like I see that there are these people who use these cool markers that I want to buy. I learned about it online on YouTube, and I want to use those markers now because I see that, and wow, that's so amazing, this type of art that they do, and I want to replicate that, and then I want to get involved. And so that was what got me to jump in. Um, but yeah, it was all just like 2.5 years ago, and then TikTok was a little bit later, and that's like the first app for social media where I actually got like traction, and everything just started like gelling. Like even like right from the get go, I was kind of thinking about this because it's been like I guess it was like March of last year was when I got on TikTok, which
Wow.
you might think like you were after that, right? When
I
did
was
you
like
get
literally
going?
just after that. So yeah, I think I started. Well, I had TikTok. I really am kicking myself in the butt for not understanding like how big it
Uh,
could have been.
you
But I
had
had
it
it
for a
since
while.
like 2018, I think. But I downloaded it as a joke. Did a few stupid
uh
TikToks. Got like 400 followers out of nowhere. I was like, oh, whatever, a bunch of 11, 12 year olds, whatever.
yeah, sure.
And I just shrugged it off. But I did a couple like art videos, but like they didn't really do anything. So I was like, whatever. So I left it for like a year or two or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I started,
Oh
yeah, just like
man.
a few months after you. Like I think in like June or so, I started doing TikTok because
Yeah.
my friend was recommending that because I started streaming on Twitch just as an experiment, and started doing pretty well. And then my friend advised me, hey, you should get on TikTok, start posting about that, and
Hmm.
gain an audience and push them over to Twitch too. So I
Yeah.
did that, and
Right.
then became an affiliate on Twitch, which is cool. I've since taken a break from it because I just got overwhelmed with everything. But yeah. So for me, that's kind of how that TikTok thing started.
Yeah. I'd heard about Musically, and I was like, oh, I myself, I'm
Yeah.
just like kind of goofy, and like I like to on Snapchat only. It's like for few eyes only. Like I'll record like myself lip syncing. I used to do that, and that's like what Musically was. I don't know why I didn't get on it, but eventually got onto TikTok, and it was really only after I was doing the art stuff, and it's just
Hmm.
kind of wild how life works. Like you think, like I've always been somebody who's into YouTube, always been somebody who's into like Twitch and streaming and video games and pop culture and stuff and whatever's current music, current people. And but it was like when I actually had like a purpose with like my kids, that I felt like that was when I wanted to get into something. And then with that, there was actually like more substance anyway. So
Hmm.
kind of all made sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so you've always been into YouTube. So like, what are some creators that inspire you,
Yeah. Well, when it comes to art, definitely
or artists that is
Gox.
too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Well, definitely Gox. Do you follow Gox
I don't
and
think
his
so.
stuff? You know? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. This guy's wild
It's
because
weird.
I
There's
know you're
some
into
people that
cinematic.
have like millions of subscribers, but it's weird because
You
all
just
of a
don't
sudden
know him
I'll just
yet.
like
Yeah.
all of a sudden notice them like, how have I never known about them? What the heck? It's weird.
Oh, sure, sure.
I
And the
guess there's
funny
just
thing
so many
too
of them
is,
now that it's kind of
yeah,
a little harder to find people.
yeah, like TikTok is like smaller. And like my wife is even commenting about that. She's like, "Oh, it's like a small world." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess it is kind of like you can find enough of the artists you can be like, oh, there they all are, sort of. But like on
Yeah.
YouTube, no, not a chance. Like you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's been like on TikTok, it's like people do like the glitch, like looking TikTok, like
Yeah.
literally the TikTok logo, and they draw that. Like TSA Rock, do you know that guy? I love.
Uh,
He and I message a little bit. He's big on TikTok. He's got like a million and some. But like he's got one of his popular voice things is like, oh, how to draw a glitch effect. And like one day I was looking up glitch effect on YouTube, and there's dudes that are like beast at it. And nothing against TSA Rock, but like
yeah.
these people are just like amazing on YouTube with thousands and thousands of followers and all this, and you're like, holy crap. Like in a way it's almost like TikTok is like a little behind.
Yeah.
And certainly with numbers, but like, and then even with like with Pascas, like I was the same way with Pascas, like seeing a couple people use them, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then when I would bring that to TikTok, there was definitely a ride in the beginning of like so many people being like, what pens are those? I need those pens. And it's like
Yeah.
in a way, I was maximizing on a little bit of that, like, I've never seen that.
Did
Like those things draw on
did you get
anything?
an
Like
affiliate
what?
link by chance? Like
I
recommending like,
did with
hey, get click my link.
I
My
did. It
affiliate
didn't
link in for Amazon.
I didn't do Amazon. I should have probably, but some marker company. They're you'd like them, I'm sure.
Really?
They're a
Okay.
marker company in yeah, yeah. I recommend them to anybody who's like actually serious about trying to find stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because with Poscas, they're hard to find. There's like if you go into Amazon, you're
Mm,
like, oh, cool. Here's the all the colors, and I ordered that one day, and then I was like later researching it. I'm like, no, there's more than all of the colors. Like, what are all these colors? So like, I have a
yeah.
box that has so many. Like
Really?
the ones that you showed, there's a lot more. There's a lot
Yeah, I
more.
know there's a lot more colors, but I was like, dude, at like each box is like 30 something bucks a pop. So I'm like,
Yeah,
two
yeah.
I
Buy it
ordered
when
the
you
one
need
and then I
it.
just wanted like thinner markers, the same colors but just thinner, and that's been really cool. But yeah,
Yeah. So place I use is Marker Supply, and
marker
I was like,
supply.
hey, like, give me a affiliate link, and they're like, sure. And then like people like shortly after stopped asking like, what are those markers? It
You're
was
like,
just like it
no.
nothing successful happened for me. They were like, yeah, we'll give you store credit, cool. And I was like, here it comes, I'm gonna have free markers. Nah, didn't happen.
Dang it. Yeah. It's always it's weird. Like the internet is so fickle. It's crazy how like things will just come and go. And like
Yeah,
you can never like plan for anything. Like uh it's weird, but yeah.
yeah. I'm curious about that because one of your earlier on this, on your show here,
Mhm.
you were saying how like it's good to plan for TikToks, and I was thinking like, okay, yeah, like, but I
Yeah.
almost take it as like the part of advice that I liked about it was that like you have to be purposeful. Like
Mhm.
you have to go like all in with it. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna do something on a total whim and like have like shaky hand and be like,
Yeah.
babbling nonsense
you're
and
you're
like
on
pick a
you're on a
bad
whim, but
song.
you're also like confident about
Yeah, like
it.
it's like the purposefulness has to be there because like
Uh-huh.
sometimes I've found with TikToks for sure is like and creatively in general is that you have to be like willing to go with something that you didn't necessarily plan out like in a long time in advance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I've like one of my ideas that was like one of my most like went from like my that produced my channel from going like man to like blip like a huge blip like
Mm.
wow like this is it kind of thing like that moment came like just out of nowhere. I was like in the bathroom like washing my hands and I was like what if I did this, and then
Yeah.
like I did it and then I was like ah and then it like went so quick. I mean certainly like and that's the thing with art too, like if you think about like the purposefulness or like being skilled or being ready for those kind of moments like because
Uh-huh.
you have like that creative idea but then you bring your skill to it, you know what I mean? You're not just
Yeah.
like just coming up with an idea and just like talking or doing something that anybody can do. You're also bringing that skill which you've been drawing like on an iPad for years,
Mhm.
and then suddenly you come up with the Posca idea, like you could still execute that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because you have that skill. So for me, like that was like a big moment where it was like I had that idea and I was like, what if it could work? put it out there on a video that's 15 seconds long, it's like
Yeah.
nothing. But then for whatever reason, the algorithm picks it up and then like it just gets rolling and then suddenly you're like, oh my gosh. Like this could change everything.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. I took like a cuz I like I don't know. I spent all my energy and time like getting to like 10K followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then when I finally reached that point, I was like, yeah, and I was like I'm going to keep going, and then I just was like this isn't going to work. And that's when I
Tell
like
me about that
yeah.
because I'm curious about that because I
Yeah.
definitely experienced a moment of like a shadow ban or like I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah.
I recently experienced a moment like that, but I'm kind of curious, like, what
Yeah.
was it that you felt after the 10K? Were you like you didn't know where to go, or you felt like you hit a goal and you didn't know what to do after? Like, tell me about that.
It was kind of like I felt like I had run a marathon, and
Mm,
I had been working really hard to get to the finish line, and I made 10K. But then it's kind of like the idea of like if I hit 10K that would be cool, but obviously like I can keep going. Like maybe you're running a longer marathon. I don't know what the analogy would be, but like I was like I intended like to keep running past the finish line, but I was like like it was partially just like um to get there it took a lot, and it was like every I think about the ratio that it was like maybe one every 10 TikToks would do okay. um and then every once in a while like I'd get a really good one, because I was mostly focusing like because I was learning what was working. You probably do the same thing. You kind of look at your videos, you see which one's doing well, and kind of try to recreate that either using similar hashtags or the same types of I don't know same type of video. And
hmm.
so I was focusing on tutorials a lot, uh, and so for me that was just kind of stressful because I was like, man, I just feel like there's a lot of other stuff I could talk about, but they take a long time to kind of figure out because I had to plot them out because they were kind of more like actual like stuff I learned while I was in college for art, and I was like,
Hmm.
I don't know, and yeah, I had spent so much time, like I spent all my time after working full time, come home, that's all I would do, and I would stay up to like way late, like 2 or 3 in the morning doing that, and I was just like, is this really like worth it right now? And so I decided to take a break. My main goal was like, I was like, it's cool to have 10K on TikTok. I love that. And I think that's always going to be there for me, right? Like, we feel like as creative people, we're scared to kind of step away for a bit because we're afraid we're going to like we're going to lose everything we just got. But, yeah, I focused on YouTube because I was like, in the end goal, my end goal is like, my dream is to be on YouTube. Like, I've been doing Twitch and stuff too, but so I had to take a step back from everything. And so during that time, though, I kind of just focused on one thing, which is really healthy mentally for me and creatively. And I was able to make a little bit more art because I learned I had lost the ability to like want to make art because I had been making it for TikTok and for streaming on Twitch to the point where I was like, I'm just making art and people are watching me. It's not like I'm making art that I want to make for me or whatever, doing just studies for
Yeah.
myself. And I'd
Oh
always try to
man.
go for the final illustration thing instead of just sketching and like goofing around like I used to do. And so, yeah, doing that, I realized I was like, I really have no motivation for art. And then I slowly I think I talked about it at some point in maybe a podcast or something, but, or maybe even a YouTube video, I don't remember. But I had to like let myself slowly gain up that momentum to have the motivation to do
Hmm.
stuff again. And eventually I was able to get that back to where I'm kind of okay right now, where I can still let myself. I still want to do art every once in a while when I have a chance. I'm like, okay, cool, it'd be cool to do some artwork right now. But yeah, so taking that break helped. Came back, and then holy crap, it was like as if um like my creativity was back and the ideas I had were better, and I took a different approach. Instead of doing tutorials, I all of a sudden was like, you know what? Like there's stuff I still want to do that I haven't explored yet. I still want to do like skit stuff, and you've probably seen them. Like I was like, I'll just do like meme videos. And
Yep.
bro, they took off like crazy, dude. It was like wildfire. It was like every like fourth or fifth post was like fire. It just boom, algorithm took it and it just blew up to like 100,000. And I'm like, 100,000 views is so hard to do on TikTok. And it just did it without like failure. I was like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
getting 100K. And bam, 100K within a couple days. And there was even one where I was live streaming on TikTok and I had it pulled up on my desktop because I was just curious. I was like, how's it doing? You kind of get all analytical. You're like, how's it performing? And then, yeah, I saw it and I was like, whoa, does that say like 30K. I was like, whoa, no way. I just posted that before I went live. I was like, that's crazy. And then I refreshed, 60K. I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? That's never
What's
been that
happening?
fast.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. And I just kept refreshing and watching it grow, and I was freaking out. And it eventually hit pretty much like 90 to 100K within like 2 hours of being posted, and I was like, wild, what a wild ride. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's since like slowed down up until the present where um I don't know if it's because my consistency. Maybe it's like if you take a break, you kind of have to ramp into like don't make your super banger TikTok videos, but just kind of make the ones that are a little like easiest to
Mm,
make, and then the
mm,
ones you have planned for maybe like I don't know. This is my idea. I'm gonna have to test it out, so it's just a theory. But I'm thinking maybe like ramping into it and then making sure you're consistent, and then post those fire TikToks because maybe that's the sweet spot where the consistency helps TikTok want to push your content, and then it
yeah.
pushes the videos, and then if you want to take a break, you can kind of slowly fade out and then slowly fade back in. Because I think
Yeah.
long term, that's the only way I'm gonna probably be able to do this is not doing it every single day, but just kind of doing it in bursts where I'm
That's
able to
smart.
do
I
it.
think that's a good
But
idea.
yeah, it's something to try
Yeah.
out for sure.
Yeah. Oh, well, don't think you can continue on that, but I had like two major thoughts. Like one, going back to like the goal you hit, 10K, and then the other about like is it the content you want to
Yeah,
create? Like those two different things resonate with me. Like so for the first one, similar to me, but with 100K, I have 130 some right now,
yeah,
thousand followers, and for me it was like getting to that 100K because I had one banger video that like was creeping into like 1 million views,
dang.
and oh actually
I
I
haven't
have
gotten
some
close
art
to that.
here
I think I
too.
have like maybe 400 or 500 on a really old video somewhere, but a million is
uh
crazy to hit.
Yeah, yeah. So I have different art here, but just since I'm talking about this one,
Oh
this
yeah,
was it's I drew Dipper, and this was the
yeah.
first one that I this was the first Posca pen drawing that I really went in on.
Really?
And this is
That's
the
really
one that
good
it
for the
got
first
me
one.
a
Wow.
I know, right? It got me 1 million views. It's insane. So I literally thought of the idea of like I was trying to think like, I see people who just draw cartoons with Posca pens and they do great. And I
Hmm.
was like, what could I do that like has a little twist with it? And I was like, maybe I could just like do all the wrong colors on purpose. And then that's what I
Right.
did. So like I was like, like Dipper is literally blue. Like it's like you
Yeah,
just,
he's like a Smurf.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm waiting for all the Smurf comments. Everybody's just
Yeah,
like, oh, that's a Smurf. That's funny.
Dipper Smurf.
And then it just like bam, just blew up like wildfire, as it goes. And it's so exciting to just like because it's like a game, TikTok, when you
It
see the
is.
numbers
That's how
running
I would
up, it's like you're
describe it.
playing
It's
a
like a
video
video
game or
game,
like
bro.
slot machines.
Yeah.
So it's so fun. That's the fun aspect of it. And yeah, for me, like once that went, I was like, I got this. I could
Yeah.
be drawing these all day.
The
Like I
confidence
literally
is
like,
there. You're like, yeah.
of course, you think you got it all.
Let's
And then I
buckle
did
in.
like that's why these are on the same page. Like
Yeah.
this is the next one I did. And this one did great too, Bart Simpson.
Hmm.
And then I even did like a little inverted view thing. And then so I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I can just do this all the time. And I got that idea like, okay, I got to get 100K now. I was
Uh-huh.
not there yet for followers because at that point you get to work with brands.
Oh,
So it's just
really?
yeah, so think of it this way.
Is that the
With
number to hit? Oh, interesting.
think of it this way though.
Yeah.
Just this is really settles it. That's just like my part of the story, but you get to 10K or let's think about it this way. 1K. Why do you want to hit 1K?
Go live.
Go live. 10K
Creator
creator
fund.
fund. Yep. And then 100K you get to work with brands. So I'm like I got to
Huh.
get to 100K. And then you get that goal in mind. Who's giving you
Yeah.
that goal? Think about that. Who gives you that goal? It's TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I had this realization where as I was also not getting that goal of 100K, I was like, I'm going to hit it by this date. It's like sort of
Uh-huh.
that affirmation of like do something by a date and like you really get it set in your mind. Like you think you're going to hit it even better if you really focus on it. And I had that in my mind and I was like seeing that I wasn't quite getting there. And I'm like, like what is this goal that I'm getting from TikTok? Like this isn't my
Hmm.
goal. Like why should that be my goal? 10, 100,000 followers. Like what does that really mean? And then I was actually thinking about it, like because when you think about like how often do you see people who are like, oh, by the way, this is an ad. You might see it more now. I think it's more common now, but like
Hmm.
last year you really didn't see it very much, especially with other artists. I was thinking about
Right.
other artists that I know, and I'm like, I don't see these guys like promoting soaps or like promoting
Yeah.
like shirts, or like I don't see them actually using videos to promote something for an ad. So it got
Yeah.
me thinking it's probably not that great. It's probably, if they would do it if it was good.
Yeah.
Similar analogy to, like, on YouTube, literally everybody has like, this is
Hmm.
brought to you by Skillshare, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
great, now I have to listen to an ad, but whatever, you get your bag, like you get your paid
Yeah.
by Skillshare, whatever. Like, this is the way it is. You know why? Because if they want money, then they have to work with the brand. Otherwise, if it was just AdSense
Yeah.
giving everybody enough money, then they would just do that. They would be like, I don't want to throw an ad in the middle of
Yeah.
a video I've been working weeks on. So they do that
Because
because it
sponsorships are
works.
like majority of the money for typically like I've seen a podcast where another creator who has like a million subscribers, a lot of it he gets actually more money from like a little bit more, well, a lot more money from AdSense than normal, but it just depends on your content and your audience and
Sure.
stuff. But yeah, usually
And of
sponsorships are
course,
huge.
everybody promotes merch, and then they've been doing that since merch, it's 10, 15 years. Like, so
Mhm.
you get it. Like, it's part of the trend, and it makes sense. So I was thinking, like, why am I trying to follow this goal that's not even mine? And in reality, it kind of means nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I could have 100,000, or you could have 120, and it'd probably be about the same.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And why is in your mind you think like, that's 20,000 more followers. Like, you should be hyped about every follower you get, or every
Yeah.
milestone. So I was thinking about that, and that's something that's good to internalize too, because it's like, why do you create art? If it's something that means something to you, you enjoy the process, or you just enjoy like the hype of it, or you enjoy seeing people be happy about it, like, then that's what that's your goal, is to continue with that and to make that grow. Or maybe like part of my goal is like, I really like I made stickers, and like I was hoping people would buy them on my Etsy shop and stuff. Like, I
I
think
did
it'd
the
be
same
just,
thing.
yeah, I know you have stickers. So I kind of curious about our sticker stories that we could share, but
Are we like the same person?
yeah, I know, right?
We're doing the same
Why did
exact
we make
things.
stickers? Yeah. So yeah, my thought is just like, it would be so dope to just share.
Mhm.
If someone was like, that guy's art's amazing, oh my gosh, I can buy that for $1. Like, I think that's cool. Like, if
Yeah.
I like some of my artists, you asked me earlier, some of the artists I really like Vex. Do you know Vex? He works with the Copic markers. He's usually on
Mm-mm.
YouTube. Do you know ZHC?
Yes.
Okay, so if you think of like in the priority of like hype dudes who draw on expensive things,
Yeah.
sorry Vex if you ever hear this. I don't think he would, but like, that's kind of how he's somewhere in that pecking order. Like,
Uh-huh.
there's ZHC, there's Leo, I forget his last name exactly. He's like, anyway, I don't want to like bad talk anybody, but I'm just thinking like, they draw on these things, and it's like super
Uh,
customized, hyped up, whatever, and they have millions of views, and that's all exciting. But Vex is somewhere on that list, but he also has this like kind of creative style that's unique to those guys. He does these, like, it's called doodling. I mean, that's what, unfortunately, is not a better name for it, because like, oh, doodling, but
yeah.
it's just like a bunch of grouped image. Oh, this is a Vex thing. I think Vex is cool. Like, it's just like, if you're not familiar with it, it's just like a bunch of clumped like little cartoony guys all together. And
Oh.
this is a YouTube's thing that
Okay.
he made. So his art's kind of like that, like very colorful, bright, little characters, little monsters. Um, Man, now I'm like losing my train of thought. Okay, so Vex was, hold on a second.
You're good.
What were we talking about? Stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Vex, if you want to buy his art, he'll be like, "All right, I'm dropping 30 prints for $100 each. Try to get them." And it's like once every few months, and then it's like, what? It's $100 or $150? And as a fan, you're like, I kind of want that. I don't really want to pay that much. Like, I have a job, I could pay for that, but I'm
Yeah.
like, all right. But why don't people like that just sell stickers that anybody could buy?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
that, like, just something
Accessible.
that anybody can grab. Like, so that's what part of a goal of mine was, thinking like, oh, I think that's really cool. I really identify with that. And
Mhm.
there are other artists that do that. Do you know 1000? That is like my latest kick. 1000 is so cool.
I
You
feel
have to
like I
check him
heard
out
about
later.
him. Yeah. I'll have to check
Yeah,
that out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he part of his whole thing, he has like 500,000 subs on YouTube. Part of
Mhm.
his thing is like being accessible, making things accessible, and like, you could buy a t-shirts of the month with him, and he's got these like really dope stuff, and it's like just affordable. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, like, yes. Thank you. Some people are doing that kind of stuff, but a lot of artists don't. They're like,
Yeah.
they're just so inaccessible, and I don't
Right.
really get that.
They
But
become almost like fine artists where they're like,
yeah,
my stuff's very valuable. And you're like, well, it is,
yeah,
but also you have thousands of people. So if like you pay cut and you say, oh, it's going to be only $10 and not $40, like you're not gonna lose out on a lot of money. You're gonna get more order. That's always what drives me wild is like it doesn't have to be so expensive because if you have so many people that are willing to buy at X amount price, like you'd make more money doing it that way than sticking to your guns at a certain price, you know?
Yeah, I think there is an element of I'm totally agree with that, but then there's like this element of
Yeah,
if it's hyped out, if it's only a limited supply,
that's
people
true.
want it more, and that creates the value in it. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, I know that's true, but I also don't really care
Yeah,
for it as
yeah.
much. You know what I mean?
There's like a balance between, you know.
However, I'm kind of using that methodology in some of my TikToks right now. But I do want to ask you about like with you feeling like okay, the content you create, is that what you want to be creating versus
Mm,
like okay, this is like this gets me to a milestone. So you got to the milestone, but then you're like really thinking about it. Because I had a feeling like this too
yeah,
over the course of really the start of this year. I was thinking like, what does it matter if I just am redrawing someone else's cartoons? Someone's like, I like that
yeah.
cartoon. It's a new style or something a little different. I like it. But I'm like also thinking like I did a little bit of I don't know if you've seen these videos of mine, maybe not, but I've drawn on a dollar a few times
Oh,
and
I
put
did see
TikTok
that.
videos out. You
Mm-hmm.
did see okay. So I actually have one here. Um so drew on a dollar's Fortnite
Yeah.
themed, which is whatever. You could hate it if you want.
Uh-huh.
But guess how many views it got? It got 3 million.
No way.
Yeah, so this is my biggest viewed one.
Holy
And
cow. Wait,
when you get into
I
the
don't know if I can
millions,
ask you this. This is a side
oh,
question,
go ahead.
but how much do you think you earned from that video, more or less? I don't know if you
Um,
want to say or not,
no,
but
I don't
I'm just
mind
curious
saying
about
because
like it's always interesting to see the ratios between that
yeah, I think when you get into the millions, you start actually like seeing like in your
chunks.
creator fund, you actually see like chunks of money, you know, tens, 20s, 30s, 40s,
Mm-hmm.
50s in a day. And you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But I had calculated it out and I expected to make, because like people like ratio and figure out, and I expected like maybe around like 500, 600 just on that video.
Yeah.
But I did not make that much. I made like a fraction under that.
Okay.
So I think altogether, probably more. It was no, it was more. It was like half that. So it was less than if you
Okay.
do like the math that people say, it's less than that.
Yeah.
But also like don't really believe like people listening don't
Yeah.
like believe me exactly. Like
Yeah.
whatever happens
TikTok's
for you in the future, like it'll be different than what you're hearing
Yeah,
now.
because
It's different for
TikTok
everyone.
determines that they don't really have a formula as far as I've read into it. It's just
That's
like
right.
based on your views and your engagement, will dish out the money. I'm like
Yeah.
okay, whatever that means. Because I in total I've earned like, not including like I've gotten like $12 or $13 from like live donations, but from like live streams. But I've made
Right, right.
like $40 now out of all my content that
Hmm.
since I've been on the Creator Fund. But that's with like I think around uh
Gosh.
about maybe it was like it's close to like maybe a million views I guess because I have like what
Altogether,
probably
yeah.
racked up together with my 100,000 views on like 6 videos. It's like maybe 600,000. So yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
crazy how it doesn't add up. Really, you're like, oh, I should get more, but I don't.
yeah. Yeah, it doesn't quite, but ultimately, like for me, I think for a lot of people, like TikTok is the only way where anybody can make any money online.
Yeah,
And just for me, it's just kind of funny because like even though I literally have my own regular 9 to 5 style job,
same.
but I do this just for fun. And then when I make like a dollar in a day, I'm like, let's freaking go.
Yeah,
You
you hit the
know?
creator. I
You
hit the
get
creator
hyped by
fund
it.
like lottery every day. And I'm like, okay, creator fund. What did I get today? Or as
Yeah,
of like, because it pays out like every like after three
it's still
days or
a delay.
something.
Yeah, yeah,
So like, yeah, I'll get a day where I'm like, I think the max I hit was like it was so close to $4. I was like, yeah, it's the best. And it's just like freaking $4. But like, I don't know. It's like it feels more
it's
validation or
yeah.
success because you're like, I did something. I it was impossible, but I made $4 today.
There you go. Yeah, for me, like one of the things I really like about creating online in general, and especially with TikToks, is like I will come up with an idea end to end, put it out there. It's all me, and if it has any success, I'm like, let's go. Because like if you have a 9 to 5 kind of job, or you're working with other people, like it's like this group success thing. So
Mhm.
it's nice to like have an area where that's not the case, and it's just fun. I mean, and I think right now, like if you think like early, your comment earlier about early YouTube and like how it's just like people just did stuff they don't know why, and those people are now millionaires. You know, like so
Uh-huh.
like if you just have fun with it and gain a following, you don't know where it'll go in
Right.
a year. Like, I mean, not to say like hey, we'll have financial success. Like it's gonna be awesome. Don't worry. Like, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like you could say the same things about like early YouTube or early Instagram. Like, it feels like if you have like 1,500 followers on Instagram, you can just sell whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's like you can just be like, here's my shop now. And people are like, I want it. I want to buy whatever it is. And it's like, I don't know. It's just crazy how the internet works. You don't know how it's going to be in the future. So even if it's just for fun now, like it might pan out to something more in the future. So, but
Yeah.
either way, it really like you got to double down on you're doing this for specific reasons that are just valuable for yourself. And like for me, it's like entertaining and growing and creative stuff for me versus like feeling like I can't do that. Or also like it's like drawing for my kids a little bit, and like letting them
Mm-hmm.
see these videos. I have another on the topic of showing art. So maybe this will jump into another subject. I'm not sure, but so with Posca
Oh
pens, I
yeah.
drew on a controller, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've done a couple of these. I have two in front of me. But this one is a Dan TDM controller. He plays if you know Dan TDM, he plays Minecraft
Okay.
and other things. And then this is another Minecrafter, but this
Oh,
is
Dream.
Dream. So
Yeah.
yeah, Dream. So Dream's super popular. This video didn't really do much, but anyway, but this one, um Dan TDM, I, I was like, I did this controller. I did like a little like transition thing. I even like drew his face with like Posca pens and whatever, and like different colors. It was like when I was trying to experiment with like different stuff, not
Mm-hmm.
just like do a cartoon. And I posted this video and it was okay. And then I was like, I'm determined to get him to see it,
Right.
which is hard to do. You can't. Dan
Yeah.
TDM with 20 some million subs on YouTube, and with at one point he was the top YouTube earner for a year. Like
Oh
somebody published
wow.
that, and they were like, "This guy's the richest one," which is just insane. So he's like up there. He doesn't have a PO box anymore. You can't just send him something. He's like super inaccessible. So I like tried contacting him on Twitter, nothing. Tried going into his live Twitches and be like, send money to him, hoping he'd see the dono kind of thing. And then one time I sent him money and he replies like, "Oh yeah, like best chance is to like tag me on Instagram." Yeah. All right. And that was it. I was like, can't you also maybe just be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll look at that."
Yeah, you're like, let me know because I'll forget.
And he's like, "Oh, the best way to reach me is not here. It's not now. It's on Instagram.
You
Good luck."
tell me this after I spend money. Ah.
I know. Yeah. So then, so I didn't give up for some reason, but it was like a month or so later, and he posted it. I think he posted to Twitter a tweet where he was like, "Oh, send me TikToks,
Mhm.
Christmas theme, ready to go." And I was like, "Here you go, send it right away." And then like a week later, someone's like, "You're in Dan TDM's video," and I was
No
like,
way.
"What?" And then so to give a little more, like, sure, he's a big famous dude, whatever, wholesome guy too. He's really cool. But like my oldest son, like always watches his videos. Like he's one of his favorites. So I was like, "Dylan, get over here. I'm in his video." And it was like a Christmas themed thing. And then eventually he was like, "Whoa, what's this?" And he's like, "Whoa, that's sick." And I was like, "That's enough for me. Like that's so cool." So there's like no financial. Imagine
Yeah.
that being your goal. Like whose goal is that? That's only my goal. I'm
Oh
sure other
yeah.
people would love to get Dan TDM's attention. I'm sure, but like that was something that I thought was amazing. And then having achieved that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's so cool. So like why settle for these like stupid goals that like TikTok or society gives you, have
Yeah.
followers, get views, all this bullshit. Like, oh bull crap. Sorry, let's do
Oh,
that.
you're good. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So like, why settle for all of the things that society wants to give you, like all this BS? Like
Yeah.
settle for something that you think is useful, right? And have those be
Right.
your goals. So that was a really cool moment for me. And at that point too, I also had like a what do I want to do with my art? So which kind of gets into my question to you about like what do you do when you feel like you need to be doing more with it, right? And not just like
Yeah.
chugging along. So I had a kind of a down moment. It was actually after the $3 million, $3 million.
3 million,
I
$3 million.
wish 3 million
Million
view
view
dollar.
dollar. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what do I do with my art? Because honestly, I mean, imagine this being drawn on paper. You'd be like, that's a nice little llama.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't think twice about it. But being the fact that it's drawn on a dollar is it gets this hype, right? Like, is that
Yeah.
a real dollar? Or why is he wasting money like that? Or isn't that illegal? It gets
Yeah.
those things going. And that's that engagement and that hype that happens. And I'm like, I actually took that video down. I privated it on
Really?
TikTok. Yeah, because I was like, I don't really want people to expect me to be drawing on dollars every other day. And
True.
part of it's because I'm not sure if I just like it's just drawing on a dollar. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
border not that it's illegal, but like it's enough of like a thing where people are like, oh my gosh, isn't that illegal? You know, it's like on the
Yeah.
sidelines where people are gonna always like shout out that it's like kind of sketch.
Right.
So like, do I want to be always doing something that's like people are gonna be like, that's kind of sketch, and, you know, not really.
Yeah.
And then the other element of that was like, if I just drew that on, like, nobody's gonna care about that art if it was on a piece of paper. So I was like, ugh, you
Are
know,
they
I
more
would
into it for
rather.
like the conspiracy or the fact that it's actually your art?
That's the thing. Yeah,
Like
they're
the
into the
conspiracy is
other
the
element.
vessel for your artwork to live on, and you don't really
Mm-hmm.
want. Yeah, I could see how you feel about that. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So I got into a phase where I was like, all right, I gotta like be doing my own thing, soup to nuts. Like it's not somebody else's idea or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then I like at the beginning of the year it was like kind of a down in terms of art and creating stuff. Oh man. I eventually got to like where I wanted to do poses more, and that's like I was talking about 1000. I was
Mm-hmm.
inspired by a lot of his stuff. I was discovering him earlier this year. And like he has like these bright, colorful characters. And I was like, so I identified with that because I like to flip the color of things.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, maybe I'll do like character poses. So like this is one I really like. So I'll show it to you. So
Oh,
it's like
sweet.
Archer dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And it just feels like, you know, this is not something I've necessarily seen. Like you could be like, oh, I
Right.
see an inspiration here and there, but it's not like
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely not lifted.
Right.
And so I was like hyped about that kind of thing. And then I found it was like really difficult, like just to turn out like new works, and it was a lot of work, and I also wanted to refine my skill, so I draw something. I was like, I see what I did, and I want it to be more, I want it to be better. So then it was like a double-edged situation of like, first of all, I'm posting these videos where people are gonna be like, I don't know what that is, it's
Mm-hmm.
nice, but it definitely doesn't have like the natural hype of being drawn on the back of something expensive or being drawn on the a dollar. And then also it's something that nobody's ever seen before, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like something I'm working through. So it was difficult. So I wasn't getting views for it. It was tough. And then and after a while I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to get back into TikTok. And I kind of had a settlement where I'm like, I don't need to be like this like true artist right now. Like maybe
Right.
someday I'll be there or not, but like
Yeah.
I know it's fun to engage with people online and you know to meet people like you. This is super cool too. It's just like a I know you've talked about this before too.
Yeah.
Like you meet people on TikTok and then suddenly you're chatting like you have a new friend. And like we have
Yeah.
like similar exact hobbies and you're like, wow, we're the same person. You know, it's like this has never been possible before. Like this year, last year. So like that
Yeah.
those kind of goals are super important and great,
Yeah.
and like why not just have fun with that. So I kind of let go of like the do I need to draw something totally original. And then for the past like about a month or so I'm like, let's get out of this TikTok like slump, and I'm like finally fully out of it, and I'm like really like focused on where I'm going right now. So it's been a journey.
Yeah. And like, cause I know recently you've been drawing on like NES controllers and stuff too. Is that like what's your plan? I guess. Do you have like an idea of where you're going with everything then?
Yeah, I do for now until it changes on a whim.
Yeah, yeah. It's internet. It changes. We only have like
Yeah.
current ideas, and then it's completely different next month.
Yeah. So I do, if anybody's watching this and wants to check out my YouTube after this video, I do have a video. It's like a 10-minute through how I got, and I label it like how to get out of a TikTok shadow ban, because that's effectively what I was
Yeah.
in. You know, what's a shadow ban? It just means your views are in the trash and you can't get out of it. But for me, I was legitimately losing followers.
Really.
So I would post something
Yeah.
that, you know,
Yeah, cause I was watching.
I'm trying so hard. I post something and lose 100 followers, and you're like, hmm. So it
Yeah.
hits you. Oh, what's going on here? Uh, but yeah, I was like losing some followers. So my video is a little bit on this stuff, but I did come up with the idea because I've drawn on the controller. You know, I showed you the Dan TDM controller.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, these things are curvy and annoying. And I was like, what if I could find a retro, you know, flat NES controller? And I thought maybe that would be cool with like the retro aspect of it.
Right.
So my idea was, and those are cheap. They're only like
Really?
$10. Yeah.
No way. Okay. I didn't know because I
Yeah.
was curious. I was like, so he's got to be buying these because I thought at first I was like maybe he just has like really old ones that he just doesn't care about. But I was like, no, these look pretty kind of new. He must be buying them somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. They're cheap on eBay and
Wow,
they're made in China. They look fresh.
that's crazy.
So that was part of my decision with that. It was, I was like, it's flat, it's cheap, because I have like churned out, I painted over Xbox controllers, and I'm willing to do that for like another good video, but like
Yeah.
after a while, like, and you don't want to keep doing that if you feel like it's not getting attention or whatever. But with the NES controllers, I was like, this seems like a good idea. And then with a new idea, you have to, especially with TikTok, but probably anywhere, you have to be like willing to go through it a few times and get your followers like understood that, because like you could do something once and they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's funny, that's great, whatever. But they don't necessarily know that like I should follow you to see that again, right?
Yeah.
Because there's so many people who have like literally one view, one TikTok, and it blows up, and people are like, follow that person just for that. But like, what's going to happen after that? You don't have no idea. So like
Yeah.
with when it comes to art, like that consistency is important. So I started with the NES controller thinking like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get it going. It's been like a couple weeks. I've only really posted like a couple, like 3 videos. I can tell that it's taking off. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
But then in the middle of that, I got the idea to draw on my skateboard.
Oh yeah, I've been watching that. I think that's sick.
Yeah, thanks. So that was another like kind of spur of the moment idea. Like I was mowing the lawn and I was like looking at my skateboard that's just sitting there unused.
Uh,
And I was thinking like, oh, what if I drew on the back of a skateboard? Because is that an original idea? Not really. Like I've seen plenty of YouTube videos. I had to look them up because I had to look up how to draw on wood, draw on a skateboard. And there's plenty of people who just draw art on skateboards, you know? I mean, the
yeah.
Supreme skateboard thing, like those things probably go for like thousands of bucks. So it's not like the freshest idea, but for me, I was thinking like, what's like an X factor that I can bring? This is fun for me, like to brainstorm, like kind of like figure out the game a
Oh
little bit,
yeah.
So I was like, oh, what if I say like the top comment is what I will draw
Yeah.
next?
It
So that
draws
was sort of that.
engagement.
Yes. So that was like the X factor there. So I just got I'll show you too. And this series is going good.
Yeah. I can tell because people are actually commenting and stuff.
Oh, I'm getting so many comments. I'm like, don't forget to like the video. Don't just comment. So yeah. So I've got like this is like super topical right now. It's Luca. Have you seen
uh
this movie? Maybe not
Not
because we're
just
for
yet. I
kids.
haven't. I've been so busy. I've been like, yeah, I need to watch that really soon.
It's a solid one. Like, do you like
Yeah.
Studio Ghibli stuff? Like, you
Oh
into
yeah.
like
I
Totoro?
know I'm gonna
Okay.
love it. I need to actually sit down and watch it because every time I
It's
do, I'm like, oh, I could make a YouTube video. Like the feeling of like you're wasting time. So I'm like, I'll watch that one of these weekends.
yeah, yeah. It's you'll get to it. There's no rush,
I
but like
love
it's a
it.
good film. It's
Yeah.
it's as far as Pixar goes, I feel like it's more like Ghibli rather than like bad guys coming. We have to do. It's a more of a relaxed storyline. Anyway, so I was
Yeah.
like, that's what I started, and I said, all right, top comic gets painted next, and then some people are like, paint a potato, like, so instantly get memed. So this artwork is like nothing. It took me like 20 minutes to come up with that. I
Hey, but it's
definitely thought
cool and
about it.
cute.
All
It
right, thank you,
works.
thank you. And then so I was like, okay, we'll see. But the second one did better than the first one, which was interesting.
Really?
I've had series that don't go that way, which maybe I'll touch on. But and then the third one, somebody said Bill Cipher. So this is cool too. I've gotten into see like this stuff down here in like the background.
Airbrushing?
Yeah, I'm doing airbrushing now.
That's
So
sweet.
it's fun. Have you ever done that?
No. Just with digital.
Yeah,
But
right.
or spray paint, but not the same as airbrushing.
Yeah, so that's my series right now, and I think the cool thing too is like a skateboard in itself is like, $45 to get. So if it
Yeah.
can sustain you for video over video over video, and
Yeah.
who knows, man? Like when I'm done with this, people have already said like I'm gonna buy that. So maybe I could sell
You're
it for
like, bet.
cost. Yeah, I know. Can you please actually put your wallet where
Can you put that in writing when I'm done?
I know. I realized like you were talking about stickers, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you need like 100 people to say they want something for one person to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think I invested about like 100 or so dollars into just random supplies for making my own stickers, and I spent I don't know how long making them and learning how to do it. But yeah, I sold enough to where because it did really well for a while, and I sold enough to like make back that
Nice.
money, which was cool. But then after that, it just kind of was like the only reason people buy is because I push it so much, and then I'm like, that's more work than it's worth, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, so I kind of put a hold on it until
Yeah.
I like grow a huge audience, and then if there's more interest, then I'm like, okay, they're coming back, because there's still my website has. I mean, I'm paying for my website to have like PayPal on it and stuff. So, but
Uh,
that's the only tricky part is like I think I paid like a flat like $200 for like 2 years to have PayPal available on like my website, because I use like Site 123, which works really well. So it's still there. It's just no one really knows about it. I try to push it sometimes, but it's kind of more of a side thing. I'm like, oh, I have stickers too if you're interested. If not, whatever.
yeah. So that's something I think about a lot in that, like, what message do you, like, a call to action do you give to your viewers? Because I always don't want to say, like, please buy my stickers
Mm-hmm.
or please sub to my YouTube or please go follow my Instagram.
Yeah.
However, because like imagine like your comedy videos, if you're like,
Yeah.
here's a comedy video, and then in the caption you're like, buy my stickers. Like people are gonna be like,
Uh,
I
yeah.
don't really want to watch this again. Like this guy's just trying to sell me something. Like,
Right.
it kind of like puts that like aftertaste in your mouth in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh but the funny thing too is like you look at some creators and like all they ever do is plug their stuff and you're like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
like why can't I be like that guy?
Yeah.
Why does it work for them?
Okay, so I've experimented with this, and I mean, people listening, there might be a couple people out there now that know have we're in this exact same moment. But so I started just like not in lesser terms, like just not giving a crap anymore. I was like, you know what? People are following me. If they're gonna unfollow me, they're gonna follow me for whatever reason. Like I get it. Like I have people that I follow sometimes. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, oh, these guys are actually annoying, and you unfollow.
Yeah,
You have some people like
yeah.
that, and so I was like, I get it. Like everyone's free to do that. So I just kind of stopped giving crap once I came back from my big break, and then I started doing the memes, and I just kind of did whatever I wanted, and like I kind of didn't mention, but I doubled my following to like 20K, and so now I'm sitting at
Yeah.
20K, which is great. Um, but it's really slowed down. So I'm not really sure what's happening. Maybe I have to switch up my content or whatever. But anyway, in my TikTok lives, I just started like having live streams where the whole time I'm like, this is gonna be super obnoxious, but I'm gonna flip my camera every once in a while, and I'm just gonna point my camera mostly at my desktop computer. I had like the podcast channel open and my own YouTube channel open, and I had like this whole like a couple live streams I did where I was like, "Hey guys, sub to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to like I just have this random goal. Like I always want to hit 1,000 because that's monetization. I mean, of course you
Seriously.
need the watch hours, but which is way harder to do. But
Hmm.
I was like, heck, why not? Let's try it. So yeah, I was like, if you guys sub before 1,000, then you guys are like the OG people before we hit a 1K on YouTube, and you guys can memorize your number and be like, oh, I was sub number this, before things blew up or something. And so I started doing that and like kind of like being that sort of advertiser on my live streams, anyone who popped in, and I would like go back and forth. I had like the analytics open where you have like the live count of your subscribers, which
Hmm.
doesn't go up really if you're just a normal YouTuber. But because I was pushing that, I was like, hey, this number will go up and you'll see the number go up. And then it'll be like, I was just saying stupid things like memes, like, you'll make my like serotonin go,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just make me happy or whatever. And so, yeah, I would just scroll through my videos, say, like, I make this kind of content, basically doing a commercial every like 30 seconds to a minute. And I'd do like a little commercial about like, this is what I do. And then I would just keep doing weird stuff on streams where I'd like wear cool glasses or something, just whatever, just get attention. And yeah, like literally within like those 2 weeks, I had gained like 100 something subs just from that. And again, like it is kind of scary because like I am like fully aware of like if you can gain subs, but do they actually watch your stuff?
Right.
But
That's a good point.
I've noticed the conversion rate's been pretty good. I've only lost a few subscribers after that. I don't know if they're the same people, but usually I would talk to them and if they would chat with me in live stream and come back and be like, "Hey, I subbed. I'm gonna go watch one of your videos," and they come back and they'll tell me about it. And so like it seems like the conversion rate is pretty good, especially better because they're talking directly with me. So they see a video, they come back, they talk to the creator, and then
Yeah.
it's like now they're connected. Like that parasocial relationship is like there. So now they're like now they're like, okay, cool. Now you guys get to watch out for my videos that I post at least once a week, right? And so it's been pretty good. I think the views have been a
Yeah,
lot better for me lately.
that's a great strat. I mean, I so I had my third video in the skateboard thing today. So I was like, I had filmed the last shot, which had like all this stuff on my desk.
Hmm.
And I was like, I have an idea. Like, what if I just go live and I'm like showing that? Like, that's a cool shot. It's like all this
Yeah.
like gravity falls like stuff. So I was like, oh, let's go live, show that. And then so I was like leading up to it. And I was like, oh, I'll also write like I'm gonna post this video at 11. So then anybody joining the
Oh
live
yeah.
is like gonna be like, okay,
Yeah.
now I know it's coming. So I was like, that's smart. And then I was like, oh, I'll just put my YouTube. Like, I'll just throw that over there. And then when I was realizing through the live, which all was going great, was that someone was like, oh, what's that controller? I was like, oh, here's an NES controller. And they're like, oh, can I buy that? And I was like, yeah, yeah, you can buy it if you want. And they're like, oh, I'm gonna buy it. I'm like, okay, sure, thanks.
Hmm.
Like, it wasn't expecting it to happen, and then they bought it,
Yeah.
and I was like, holy crap! So first of all, definitely good idea in what you're saying. I'm gonna try to do that some more too. But even like practically, like I think what makes it work a little bit is that anybody that's in your live sitting there wanting to listen to you, no matter what you're saying, those are gonna be some of your better fans,
That's
and they're gonna
exactly
be
what
willing
happens.
to jump over to YouTube and hop in and subscribe and then jump back or buy something or whatever, or
Hmm.
just hang out, maybe even gift you things for no reason at all. And sure, you get like a bunch of like you like I only had like 10 20 people max. Like my that's the thing. Anybody out there who's like, oh, I only get so many people, like sure, but you will probably get the people who are most diehard for you. And you might get like a couple, here or there people popping in and out, but like you will
Hmm.
probably, if anyone is trying to get with you, like see more of your stuff, they're gonna be the ones in there. So think about it that way,
Yeah.
you know? And which is a cool thing with TikTok is that you can actually go live. Like that's so nice that's it's like TikTok is like really good at giving people like that surfacey, that little bit, like that front element of things. Like it's just like why not just post a 15-second video? Like maybe it'll go great. Like so it gets people to jump in a little bit into the water, get their feet wet. And the same thing with the lives, like it's like why not stream to like 10, 20 people, like
Yeah.
and it actually does do something. So I
Yeah.
know I also noticed too when I was live and I hop out and I was like I got like 99 plus instantly on
Yeah.
like notifications, and I'm like,
Best
what's
feeling
moving?
always.
What's moving? I know it's always nice. They need to max that thing out like more than 99. But no,
Yeah,
but
I want to see like the actual notification number. Like you get like 1,000 or something crazy. You're like, yeah.
yeah. Sometimes if you like look at it, if you wait long enough, it'll detail it out actually. It'll be
Really?
like, oh, this many likes, this many new followers. Yeah, if you just leave it open. Anyway,
Oh. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think I've seen that
you've
before.
seen
Cause
that?
I'll get off TikTok. Like if I get onto TikTok to see my notifications, sometimes I'll sit there for a minute, and then the notifications will pop up in the corner, so you like follows and all that stuff. Is
Yeah,
that what you're
yeah.
talking about? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
seen that.
So anyway, so I was thinking that like maybe since I was doing well in the live, I did get some followers, For me, it was great, but I think like algorithmically, like I was doing well, got some followers and got some
Mm-hmm.
good views, then I think it was pushing my other stuff, which I hadn't necessarily experienced before. So I'm gonna think about that too. But definitely like the element of like, man, everybody's fine if you're live streaming and you're just chatting. They're like,
Yeah.
cool, like I just want to hang with this guy. Like, I got nothing better to do. I do kind of just want to see what this guy's talking about. Like whatever. Like he's wearing funny glasses. That's nice. Like and
Yeah.
they just want to comment. They just want to be noticed, and they just want to have a little interaction. Maybe they're like in the bathroom, or maybe
Yeah.
they're like trying to go to sleep, or whatever. Like they just want to have a little interaction, and that's fine. And then you can just be free to say like you have all that extra space where like people get it. Like they're used to it on lives. They're used to that in YouTube videos. Nobody would go to. I mean, think about it now. Like how people are literally putting an ad anywhere they want saying go to Skillshare, blah blah blah, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, sure, or so you get my merch and whatever, yeah, okay, sure, but they're so used to it, nobody
Yeah.
cares. But like imagine a different medium, like being a musician. Can you imagine going to a concert? Well, okay, like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever, before the pandemic, right? Imagine going
Uh-huh.
to a concert. They're like, all right, everybody, merch stand is right over there. Like, go, don't
Uh-huh.
forget to buy. Like everybody would be like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, this
Yeah.
is a sellout. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, we're not gonna buy your merch. Let's just play a song. So like, it's so accepted in these long form videos in live to just be like plugging your stuff.
Yeah.
But like in other elements it's not. So like you kind of have to weigh that as like a true artist or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's definitely fine to do on the lives. I'm gonna be thinking about that more.
Yeah. And like to like attest to like a testimony to like the fact how lives have worked is the reason I go live is because it pushes my content. Like not just like
Nice.
during lives but like the videos I make. So like um that's what I've been doing like since the beginning because I realize it does like push everything cuz like I'll see notifications without going live and notifications going live. Like I always get a you get the whole big pocket of a bunch of people that follow you at once in that same like there's no like comment then a follow. It's like this big pocket of people following you and that's typically just from going live. And then I noticed my views go up a lot too. So that's what I would do with my meme videos and stuff. I would do like two or three or whatever, and then I'd always put captions and stuff on because people usually, if it's a meme format, they want to see like, boom, like it's gonna be a meme like artists be like or whatever you want to put up there, and they already kind of know. Oh, they automatically can read into it. Oh, this is gonna be a meme about like something, and so I would do that, and then I'd go live, and well, like I would let it sit for a bit. I'd let it kind of get some views because I could see it starting to hit some people's For You page, and then I'd get like a comment or two. I'd reply to those things, and then I would go live, and then all of a sudden, like every time, like it worked. It pushed my
Mm.
content. I got like automatic really good views and stuff, and so lately that hasn't really been happening, which is crazy. But I kind of blame maybe that's why I'm thinking partially it might be because I took like a little bit of a few days break because I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
able to make TikToks, and which is extra sad because like I worked super hard yesterday on like two of my TikToks, especially one I did like I don't know if you saw it. It's like a Pokemon like
I
meme
saw that
thing,
one. Yeah.
yeah. And so I was like, oh man, that was like a banger. I thought for sure, but yeah, it didn't get the views I thought it would because I was like I used my actual camera and everything and did some editing on it, and I was like, there's a masterpiece as far as memes go. But uh, yeah, it barely got like 300 views or something, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess it might just be random, but that kind of sucks.
Yeah, yeah. That is tough. I mean, you never really know who your videos are first going to.
Yeah.
And I'm especially with hashtags because I've for a while I would use like no hashtags and I'm like,
Hmm.
I want it to go to my followers. I trust them.
Yeah.
And then after they watch it, please just send it to anyone that you think. I don't care at that point. But like, but when you like, I don't know, did you use a Pokemon hashtag in that one?
Yeah, I did. So like that was the other thing too, as I was thinking, because like yesterday was definitely completely different niches for me. So it wasn't exactly like the art content that
Oh,
people
yep,
probably,
yep.
because like yeah, it's kind of hard. Like because like I'm trying to kind of like, it's weird because I feel like I'm a mixture of a bunch of different things. Like upfront, obviously first artist, second like video content creator, and stuff like that. So I'm like trying to like slowly spice in the other stuff to kind of like say hey, like people that follow me like also here's some other stuff mixed in where you can kind of get a better picture, and if you stay cool then they're more of like the faithful followers versus other people that are like oh this guy does this other stuff that I don't like, okay I'm out. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's fine. So I don't know, that's what I was trying to do yesterday was like okay I'm gonna go full into like skip mode, like not really art related but just doing stuff that I always wanted to try. But
Yeah, yeah.
so like definitely though doing that, I could see how it would hit people that
Yeah.
follow me. They would see that and be like they would maybe skip over it or whatever because they don't recognize that it's me, or maybe it's just different and they just don't. They're like, "Oh, what is this?" and they scroll past it.
Right.
So I could see
Yeah, I
how
think
that would
there's
like be a fault of mine for doing, but it's worth a
yeah,
shot to me because like in the end I want to do all the things, not just one thing.
right. Yeah. No, I think that's healthy. Like you're looking at it retrospectively, you're actually giving yourself an honest like what could I have done differently? That's super good. Like there's a lot of people that I have seen that like kind of whine like why is my art getting no views or like
TikTok
I'm just no
hates
use
me.
in yeah the algorithm is so bad like what Charlie D'Amelio could do nothing eat a piece of cake remember those ones
Yeah.
gosh give me a break or like everybody hating on the number three dude like the guy that's like
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, that
and
guy.
it's like
He's
oh he
awesome.
does nothing and then all the art community that was following with that did you see all the people drawing him
Yeah.
I mean good for them you follow the trend you get the views but Yeah, it's so healthy to be like, okay, what could I have done differently? Because it's not about the external. Like
Hmm.
sometimes it is things that you could just do differently, and sometimes you can kind of piece it together afterwards. You're like, oh yeah. Like for me, similar in a way to what you're saying, like doing something different and having it flop.
Yeah.
I was like, I was after I made like some of my first success videos. I was like, oh, I'm gonna give back to the community. Like I'm gonna get it right from the get go. People are gonna think like, well, oh, when he was big, remember how he gave back to the community right away? You know, that's what I was like. I'm playing out some imaginary scenario about people being like, guy's so cool, so wholesome. He gave back to the community even day one, you know. And then so I was like, I'm gonna do like an art challenge. I'm gonna have like a contest because I know a lot of kids like follow my stuff, and that's great. You know, because I have kids myself, you know, so it's
Hmm.
like drawing for them. And I was like, all right, they're gonna do my style, whatever, post it, hashtag, and I'm gonna give a winner. Like somebody's gonna give like money out of it. And then so I did these videos. I thought it was such a good idea, you know? And it seems
Hmm.
nice. And then they all kind of like didn't do well as far as videos goes, but I'm like, whatever, that doesn't really matter. Like it's about the other thing. It's about like in your case, you're like, it's about doing something that I want to do, that it's part of you, you know, you want to
Yeah.
share. So then those videos don't go so well, and then afterwards I'm like in a rut because I'm like, now like you know, the algorithm's like, hold on, this guy was doing well, but now people aren't interested in it, you know. So let's not let him get too many views on the next
He's
view.
using new hashtags we've never seen before.
Yeah. So yeah, so then that was an experience where I'm like, oh man, like I wanted to be nice and I want to give back, but then in the end, like even weirdly, like the kids that like won the art competition,
Hmm.
like one they were like the kid that won it was like, I don't want the prize money. It was like $20. I'm like, come on, please take the prize money. Like this is the only reason why I did this. So I was hoping somebody would get hyped about the prize money. And he's like, no, give it to someone else. I'm like, give me a
Oh
break.
no, I have to
Like
figure out how to find someone else to give the
yeah,
ah!
you know,
Then you
isn't that
start it from
funny?
ground one. Yeah.
So in the end it was almost like not really a great effort. And
Yeah.
it's just funny, like I think sometimes with maybe you and I, I'm sure there's other people too, but like you think like of all the possibilities of all the things you can do, all these creative ideas or jokes or YouTube videos, TikToks, podcasts, and then and 9 to 5 job and like social
Yeah.
interactions and making jokes with friends and meeting new people. You think of all these things, and then it's just maybe a product of the internet nowadays. So it's like you see everything, so you think maybe I want to be a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But there's other people who just
A little bit of everything all the time.
yeah.
Have you seen Bo Burnham's? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
That's
so
reminded me
good.
of that song. It's
I
perfect.
love that. It's so good. I've been using his songs. I don't know how I don't know how I could use the Jeffrey Bezos one, but I
Oh
would
yeah.
love to use that in
You could
TikTok.
draw on Amazon packages. Oh, before I
I could
forget,
just be like, oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
Before I forget, I also had another idea. I don't know if whatever, just throwing it out there since this is kind of like what we were
Yeah.
talking about the NES controllers and stuff. I was like, people like GameCube. Like maybe if you, because the
Mm-hmm.
GameCube is a lot of surface area on that thing. Like maybe you could go to game, like especially because GameStop's like memeable. Like maybe it's not super relevant still, but like it's still like a meme.
Oh
GameStop.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
could
yeah.
film yourself walking to GameStop, find like a really cheap GameCube or
Oh my
something,
gosh.
and then
Or even
pick it up and be like, I'm gonna draw on this thing, and then it's a whole entire series. The first video is just you picking it up, and the next ones is like you do the same thing you do with the skateboard, but with the GameCube, and then
and
you try
then
maybe.
imagine then going back and be like, can I return this?
Oh yeah, that would be funny.
Sure,
See,
it's drawn on.
and then you could be like, you could run out of space, and then be like, oh guys, I'm running out of space. You like try to open up the disc reader, and you're like, oh, where can I draw in here? And
Yeah.
you just
Oh,
like,
that's a great idea.
that would be funny, I think.
See, something like that. That's an original. It's like taking it
Uh
to
huh.
the next
Feel
level.
free to
I've
use that, by
seen.
the way.
I might.
If you ever get around to do it, like feel free.
That's a good idea. That'd be so funny. Oh, that it reminds me of the dollar thing, because like
Yeah.
people are like, oh, give the dollar to a homeless person, and I'm like, that would be really funny. But then I was like, ah, it's kind of it's not really
Yeah,
nice.
it's kind of mean. It's like, here's a dollar that they won't accept. You're like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
uh,
no, but that would be a really funny like end to end, because I have seen 1000. You got to check out his stuff. I'll send you
1000.
some links
Yeah.
that people were talking about. But like he's drawn on a GameCube, and it's like
Oh, okay.
he has really good ideas. If you're into
Uh-huh.
trying to think of ideas, because he's
Okay.
not on TikTok, we can just No, but he really isn't on
Right.
TikTok. But he's on YouTube killing it, and he's got a lot of cool ideas. So if it's like, oh, what if I did it a little bit this way? I mean, he's drawn on skateboards.
Yeah.
Everybody draws on a skateboard, of course. But then you get a little twist, and then it's your own. So,
Mm. Or drawing on a
but
door.
you could just draw on it. Do you see some of the art ones where people are like, I was bored, so I drew on my wall, and then it
Yeah,
has
I've
like a
seen
million
those, but like
views,
people
and
get
you're
heck of
like,
views for it.
yeah, and you're like, I draw on paper all the time, and I get no views.
It's because it's not. There's no risk involved.
Yeah,
The risk
I
is it's
know.
permanent on like your on some object.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, the whole trends with TikTok are it's fun to keep up with, but there's always something new. It's super
Yeah.
current too.
Yeah.
Oh man, what were we talking about just before that? I
Oh,
kind of forget
I don't.
now.
Sorry, I went on a whole tangent. Cause I forgot almost. I didn't want to forget telling you that.
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
a good idea.
cause
Oh,
you're
like you
talking.
do a little bit of everything. You're talking about
Yeah, a
Bill
little
Burr
bit of
and
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey Bezos.
Yeah, I was like saying, I was like, you could draw on Amazon boxes or something.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be fun. Or draw. No, I wouldn't want to draw on a neighbor, so that'd be
Or
kind of messed up.
I don't know if this is considered. I don't know. This would be kind of weird. This is a weird idea. So like, say you have your own stickers, right? Which I assume you probably already have. But you like
Yeah, I need to
maybe
send
like,
you some, by the way. We should
oh
swap
yeah,
stickers.
that'd be awesome. And
Cool.
you could like take one of your stickers and like film yourself like run up to like an Amazon truck or something, and then just slap it on there without them noticing. And then have like Jeffrey Bezos playing in the background.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if that's considered vandalism or not, but like it'd be so cool
dude,
just to do something crazy like that. Like, because people would
like a
probably go crazy for
sticker,
that. Yeah, you just
like
like slap it on the back and run away.
a sticker literally of Jeffrey Bezos.
Perfect. And you can do it. You can even paint that on a sticker paper too, and just
Yep,
have it be like one time
right
thing.
there. Oh yeah, that'd be funny. I should do that. You should do that. That's a great idea.
I don't know if I'm that bold to like put a sticker on a truck, but
They
I
leave their
mean,
trucks. Like I feel like in my neighborhood, they're like they hop out and then walk around.
yeah,
Like you could get
that's
it.
true. That's true.
Oh
Huh.
man. No, so okay, so here we are, exact case I was trying to get back to, that we can just think of these ideas, all right?
Uh
But there
huh.
are people out there on TikTok, on YouTube, elsewhere, and like all they do is what they know,
Mhm.
and that's it. And actually, so I can think of artists that do this, and I think that's great. Like Nash Vibes, if you don't know him, he's on TikTok with like over a million followers, and he's getting into YouTube, he's good on Instagram. He draws with Posca pens. He draws like his videos are all like talk about consistency. It's like all the same format. He pops the pen, same white desk. It's like the same size paper. It's like it's very consistent, and his videos pop off. And he what has he found? He's found people that like that type of drawing, and everybody that follows him knows what they're gonna get, and they keep
Right.
getting it, and they get a little bit different every something new every time. It's a new video, but it's that consistency is works so well. And other like we talked about Vex earlier, like he has developed this style and he knows how to do that, and that's great. But he also wants to be like super mega popular.
Right.
So he's into Pokemon too. Like he wants to like
Yeah.
he's drawing on Pokemon cards. He's anyway. So like some people like they do what they do because that's what they know and that's what they have. That's all they have. Like maybe they're
Right.
artists only because they're an artist. They don't have anything else. Like I have a like the Grateful Dead, like the band.
Uh huh.
Um, that's like a cool example of some like I heard a quote. I like their music too, but like I heard a quote where like the lead guitarist was saying like we did this music because that's all we could do. It was like that was
Right.
it. And like in retrospect, it's like that's bizarre. Like they were like one of the most popular, like famous like jam bands, especially at the time. They're like super enormously worldly popular. And to think that like they would be whittling all of that down to just saying like that's all we could do. That's it. We couldn't do anything better. We
Hmm.
couldn't do anything else.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. Like I think I'm a type of person that's like bounces around a lot and like thinks of
Hmm.
lots of different things. And I think I see something new. I think maybe I could do it. Maybe a little arrogance or something. But either way, like some people like they just hammer away and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe if somebody's out there listening and like they just make great art and they don't know why it doesn't work, like, well, you got to think about these other things too sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't just look at somebody else and think, why don't I have their success? Like, because they could be accidentally doing all the right things, or it could
Right.
be the only thing they do and they figure out how to make it work too.
Right.
So there's
Yeah.
just like a lot of elements. And I think you and I are kind of like thinkers, and we think about like how to put all the pieces together, how to solve a puzzle.
Yeah. That's something that, like in school they would always tell us is like um our professors always grounded into our heads like you guys are artists or problem solvers. People hire you to solve problems. That's all an artist does. Yeah,
Mm,
you do creative things, you paint or you draw or whatever, but you are a problem solver. You solve problems. They have a character you need to design. You figure out how to design that character. That's a problem to be solved. And
mm,
so like I think that's kind of heart what artists are. And also like I think there's like a division where it comes between being an artist and then wanting to do content creation, because I feel like nowadays if you really want to have anything solo you typically have to have an online presence. And it comes down to like, and I've always been interested in like video and stuff. I even follow a lot of like cinematographer YouTubers and stuff, and that's where like I've learned most of my stuff is just through them watching what they do and learning how to film videos and like what kind of equipment to get and stuff, or inspired to get equipment. Maybe not it's definitely not the most expensive, but uh, you know budget friendly stuff. But um, yeah, like it comes to the point where you have like a fork in the road between people who are artists and just do art, and those who are a little bit more innovative and kind of understand like the scope of like, hey, if you want to not just work for like an animation studio or wherever you are or doing art somewhere, like there's that division between wanting that and then also wanting to pursue like an independent career. And um for me, I like, at least I realized like I like my art. It keeps getting better, every few months, but it's still at that point where I'm like, I'm not the best artist out there. Like, I think, for example, like I met him at a convention once, but Ross Draws, right, from YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'm not saying like he's a bad artist at all. Like we're all good artists, but his art is very similar. Whatever. But I think what people kind of don't realize is what sets him apart is because I've like analyzed him and watched his stuff and tried to figure it out
Yeah.
with other creators too. But with him, he's got a personality. He has that way to motivate people to feel wholesome. Like he could be drawing stuff that's completely different, but I think he would still have the same success because of the way he films his videos. And his artwork also appeals to a big niche, which is anime, right? People love anime, they love manga. And so
Mm,
because he's got a good personality, he's interested in anime and stuff, he's kind of merged those two things, and he's able to gain a huge following. And now he's even producing like his own, I think he's basically in talks with like actually making a whole like animated series with this whole, he came out with a book recently about like this whole world he built up. And
oh, nice.
so he's like in cahoots and talking about that stuff. And so I think, yeah, like you said, like some people, it seems like they just kind of do it by accident, but sometimes they know it themselves, or they just knew which things to choose about themselves to be able to get that vehicle to success. And so for me, like at least what I think about is like, okay, here's my pros. Like I even wrote them down. Like here's the things I know what to do, how to do. There are a variety of different things. And then also just internally, I know my weaknesses, and so I try to determine, okay, what can I feel, what works. I'm good at video stuff, so like making memes is great, especially in neat niche of like artists, because it's kind of a smaller niche. And I know how to make videos that will relate to people. Um, and yeah, just like taking those things that work and like trying to apply them in different ways. And that's how it's worked for me, is like integrating those things. It's kind of weird, but yeah, like you do have to be innovative and like willing to try new things if you're an artist that's trying to do a solo career.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know like a good buddy of mine, he's in music area and like he's got like 16,000 followers on YouTube,
Dang.
and like it's great success. He's like similar to me, like a family man. is married, has kids, and like this is like a thing he does on the side effectively because like that, he's got all these other responsibilities. And it's sometimes I feel like there's an element of like what can you do? I've heard this and blanking on his name, super popular artist. But anyway, I've heard this before with like drawing aspect of like if you have to if your skill is like 100%, like if you want to churn it out like over and over and over again, you have to get ready to be at 80% like always. Like
Mm.
you can't like just expect yourself to always be doing the best constantly. And I think certain artists or certain YouTubers I've seen, or like when people get in a rut and they're like, oh, I can't keep creating like this. It's so hard. It's because they expect to be performing at such a high level and then they're not getting the results that they would hope to get at that high level or growth. And then they don't have an element of being like, okay, I know I need to produce at like an 80% level. And like my buddy who's I was just mentioning who plays music, right? Like he knows what to do and he can keep doing these like these reviews and these like gigs and the like reviewing guitars and stuff and so like it's a very rolling method that can keep working. And like I think not talking about Nash vibes, like you can imagine just drawing on paper every day, like just a single drawing, like that's very repeatable, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
like trying to think of like what can I draw on next, like all these like wild things. um so like there's an element there too of like the sustainability,
Yeah.
and
It's like
I think
efficiency. You got to work smarter, not harder.
yeah, yeah, so it's tricky, man. I mean, there's so many things to figure out, and like in this YouTube series and like my YouTube channel and our TikToks even. I mean, like
Mm.
we might we might have 20,000 that might seem like a lot. Like of course if you put that many people in a stadium it'd be an absurd,
It
but
is
like at the
insane.
same
Yeah.
time it's on the front end, it's
Yeah.
there's a lot of room to grow and to figure this stuff out. So it's fun. I mean, it's just been really cool, like chatting with you and like kind of
Yeah.
even just like talking about stuff just on the off the top of our heads, or
Yeah.
I know this is like an interview, get
No, yeah.
exploring
No, I
stuff,
think the
but
best
it's
thing
been
that it
fun.
can be is just like a conversation. Cuz like if it's like that's why I don't like for people that may not know, like I don't really plan topics or anything. Like maybe there's questions I have in mind, but like I just stopped doing that a while ago because it's just like if it's not open-ended conversation then
If it's
it
not natural,
yeah, it doesn't work very well. Like it has to be just normal
yeah, that's cool.
cuz that's where the best stuff comes out, to talk
Yeah,
about
man.
cool subjects. I mean, yeah, I wasn't even prepared to talk about, and that's what's fun is it catches you off guard. You're like, oh, you know,
Yeah, we were coming with the ideas too. That was fun.
yeah, just like riffing off each other. We should just have like little brainstorming sessions, come
I
up with
know.
ideas for each other.
Dude, we're both doing art. I mean, like I don't do any I've done like one or two comedy art
Uh huh.
stuff, and it's gone well actually.
Yeah.
So like I'm not opposed to that, but like yeah, we should come up with ideas. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'll just come on the show again too. This is good stuff,
Yeah.
man.
Of course. Yeah. Well, that being said, do you have anything you'd like to tell aspiring artists that are out there trying to maybe they're interested in doing the same thing you are? Who knows who's listening? But maybe someone out there is like, I want to do what he's doing. What would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, well, sure. I think I'm thinking about even like my son, right? Like
Oh
my
yeah.
son, he draws like all the time now.
Uh,
And he draws like the same thing over and over again. Like when you're a kid, I used to draw Ninja Turtles over and over again.
yeah.
And it was just that was what I did, and now he's drawing stuff from Undertale, which is so cool. But I think it's good to remember as an artist, you have to remember there's a skill and then there's what you draw.
Yeah.
There's your ability to do something, and then there's also how you're doing it. So if you I see other kids out there who are drawing, they ask me advice. I have YouTube videos on advice about TikTok and art. It's like remember, like if your art's not as clean as you could get it, like just get it clean, just get really good at those lines, just like really focus in and get those lines right. And then what are you drawing, to put that aside, put that on one side, and then on the other side, like become a fan of something. And just like I used to draw Steven Universe fan art because the Steven Universe show was ending. Me and my other son would watch it, and it was just like those that show just get you in the feels, and I'd love that. And then so I would just draw something that I felt like I was a fan of, and so you get one side is technically good, one side it's why you're drawing it, how you're drawing, what you're picking, and just blend those things together. Don't leave one side gone and forget about the other side. Just work at both of them, and to be patient with it. I'll always with art you have to be patient. So
Right.
just remember that with posting stuff online, just be patient.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah, it's just about posting it. Post it no matter what. Even if it's not the best videos in the world, just do it. It's gonna give you one
Yeah,
step closer to making better videos. Just like art. Like my professors always mention, it takes like what was it? I think you paint 100 bad paintings to get one good painting. So
yeah,
you kind of have to just make that sacrifice. It's like the 10,000 work hour thing. You're not
yeah,
professional or pro until you hit 10,000 hours into doing that one skill or hobby, you know?
yeah. I totally agree with that. And then it's almost, but it can be tricky with art.
Yeah.
You'll draw something and be like, "That's good. That's real
Mhm.
good," and then and it's not.
Yeah.
It
It's
happens.
just
Happens
enough
to
hope
everyone.
to get you to the next one where you're like
Uh,
motivated to try again.
yeah. Oh yeah. For sure, you should do it. But like for me, that analogy is better on like singing. Like you have to
Yeah.
be willing to be a bad singer
Mhm.
to be a good one. You
Yeah.
have to be willing to put out bad art to be able to put out a good piece of art. Like
Right.
it's the same thing. You have to be willing to draw badly to get a good drawing out there. Like you just have to like yeah, you think it might take off and give you all the success that you could get, but it could very well flop. And like that's what happens when you post something. That's what makes it so exciting. And that makes it
Mhm.
really rewarding when it does take off. Because you're ready for it at that point, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's my whole thing in my head. I keep telling myself it's the long-term game. Like I want this and that to go well, but like at the same time I'm like, "You know what? It's kind of better this way that it's not happening as fast as I thought it would, just because like I'll get more practice in, and then like you said, like you'll be more prepared. So that's kind of like my mindset of like, okay, it's okay if it's slow. Like I'm gonna be impatient. I'm gonna have moments where I'm gonna freak out, but moreover, it's just like chill out. It's fine. You're getting practice. It's all about
yeah, and
learning
then
and experience, and you'll be more
and
prepared for when it does. If something does happen, you blow up.
that's right. That's right. But I think anybody that's still, that listens from the start to end, like those people listening to this right now, like, they're gonna be really appreciating it. You know what I mean? Like they're
Mhm.
they're gonna be like, this is cool. This is good. So if it might be a slow growth from here on out, that's fine. But like
Yeah.
anybody that's along for it along the way, they're along for it for the right reasons. It's not because
Yeah.
we're like two beautiful people, like, dancing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's definitely you want the OG people there that are really appreciate it. And I think that's what's good about going slow is that you're growing a good audience, not just people follow you for one video and then they drop off the face of the earth. So you have 100,000 subscribers or whatever, but only like two people watch your videos. So, yeah.
yeah, man,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
it's
Yeah,
been great.
thanks.
It's been
Thanks everybody that's been watching this. We're on YouTube, right? So like
yeah,
and
and
subscribe.
Spotify and everything too.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, it goes
And
everywhere.
write a review somewhere,
Yeah.
right?
Or
Please, if you
yeah,
enjoyed this episode.
share it with somebody you love that is creative as well. Maybe even to your mom to help her figure out. That's what I've seen help happen in my podcast is every once in a while my mom will listen to podcasts if she is listening. Hi, mom. And it's been helpful to like let other people know, hey, if you want inside my head to understand, because like superficially it seems crazy what I'm doing, but I'm like, if you want to like understand why I'm doing it and how I think, listen to the podcasts because that reveals everything and it'll make more sense.
Isaac's mom.
Yeah. Oh man. But it's been great having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. I feel like a full circle moment almost since I met you.
Yeah, this is so cool. I'm glad you asked. It was really fun messaging with you like months and months
Uh
ago, and
huh.
we've really connected online. So this is really fun to be on here. Happy to come back.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. If you watched to the end, please comment I watched to the end or something. That would be awesome. I'd like to know. But thank you guys so much. Consider liking and subscribing this video, sharing it around if you feel so. If you're listening on Spotify, I guess tell somebody and have them listen to this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.
Bye.